Hi, welcome back. Can you believe we are at week 4 already? I know I can't believe it. You all are doing an excellent job keeping up with the day-to-day activities for each lesson. You're also doing an excellent job emailing me, stopping by, or calling with any questions that you have. Please keep those questions coming. A couple of things I wanted to go over as it relates to this lesson. And that is, if we look at the course calendar here, we're at week 4. So officially our week starts on Monday and ends on Sunday. So this week we're going to be focusing on perception, the self, and how it affects communication. You'll be reading chapter 2, viewing the chapter 2 PowerPoint, completing a self-fulfilling prophecy assignment, a self-esteem assignment, and a chapter quiz. There is no discussion for this week. Yay! You get a little bit of break from recording that or typing that out. I want you to really focus and critically think about these activities and assignments that I'm going to be having you do. One thing I want to mention, whenever we're dealing with the self and having to talk about the self, regardless of what context we're doing that in, it sometimes can make some of us feel uncomfortable. The one rule I have for this week's lesson is to disclose to the level that you feel comfortable disclosing and that you think I'm going to feel comfortable hearing. I don't want to put you in a situation where you feel forced to answer a question a certain way. You should be able to effectively answer the question in a direct way that makes you feel comfortable in doing so. What do I mean by that? Well, if we take a look at our lesson for this week, I'm in the course homepage in E360, going to lessons. I'll go to your view to make it a little bit easier. Lesson 4 is titled The Self and Its Influence on Communication. Just going to open that up. And I give you a brief overview of the lesson and due dates, the competencies, and the learning objectives. If we scroll down to the first assignment, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy assignment. And I give you a brief overview of the assignment here, but to get the entire assignment along with the rubric, I ask that you click on the little gray box to pull that up. Please, when filling out assignments that are put on Word documents for you, please make your responses on a fresh Word document. And I shouldn't be able to see my guidelines or my rubric. I have that just for you when I give that back. I want you to create a new document when you are responding to the items that I have you responding to. So in this particular assignment, you're going to be analyzing yourself as it relates to self-fulfilling prophecy. You're going to be reading about the self-fulfilling prophecy, but essentially what that is a mindset that one has going into some sort of communicative act and essentially setting oneself up for the outcome to be what they expected. What do I mean by that? Well, often students will come into my public speaking class with this mindset that they suck at giving speeches. That might not be the case, but that's how that person feels. And it's usually based on past experiences. Because of that, they are going to enter into my public speaking class already feeling defeated or as if they're not going to be able to successfully accomplish what I want them to do. So they might purposefully set themselves up without totally recognizing it. But they might set themselves up to be unsuccessful in my course by doing things like waiting till last minute to put speeches together, waiting till last minute to practice delivering speeches, or maybe they might even stop coming to class. So that's an example of self-fulfilling prophecy. There's a flip side to that as well. I gave you a really negative example, but I'll take math for instance. Math is not my strong suit. And I might go into a math class going, you know what? I'm going to do the very best that I can possibly do on everything that they want me to do. I'm going to ask questions. And at the end of the day, If I thought I did my best, that's all I really can do. And when I do that, I set my frame of reference, so to speak, in a way that goes, all right, I'm just going to, once they give me an assignment, I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to ask what questions I can. I'm going to come up with my own answers based upon what I've been studying, and then I'm going to turn it in, and whatever happens, happens, right? So there's a positive and a negative aspect to self-fulfilling prophecy. So what I want you to do in this assignment is list 5 goals or desires that you've had since childhood. And then under each goal, list the person or persons or events that shaped your attitudes and perceptions. So I've given you tons of examples here. If you have any other ones, feel free to add those. Next, you're going to assign one of the following responses to that person or category. Encouraged me or was helpful, discouraged me or dissuaded me, other, and then I just want you to explain. And then explain how the messages you received influenced your goals or outcomes of them. Number 5 asks you to answer the following questions in complete sentence format. How does our self-concept influence our behavior? How might our self-concept influence our future behavior? And what do you think about the following statement? A person's expectations of an outcome and subsequent behavior makes the outcome more likely to occur. Complete this assignment, like I said, on a fresh new Word document. Avoid using my assignment as a template. Make sure your name, course name, section number, name of the assignment, and date are in the upper right-hand corner. And then save your document somewhere, either on a USB drive or on your desktop. Then submit to the Dropbox titled Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. I've provided you with an example of a goal. I just used something that I had since childhood, which was to go to college. I put under there that my mother encouraged me, my father discouraged me, and one of my older sisters encouraged me. So the next question asks you, what messages did you receive that influenced your goals and how you felt about them? And I just put my mother and sister did their best to provide me with encouraging statements to keep me motivated to go to college. My father, on the other hand, told me I shouldn't be surprised if I don't make it because us grandes aren't that book smart. And then I said all the messages I received from my mother, father, and older sister were a driver for me when I started college. My mother and sister's statements motivated me when I was feeling discouraged, and my father's discouraging statement drove me to prove him wrong. Underneath that, I've provided you with the rating scale and the scoring guide for the rating scale. This assignment is worth 11 points. Thought I had that up there somewhere, but I'm sorry I don't. So if we look here, present is worth 1 point, not present is worth 0, and then number of goals is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll submit that to the Dropbox titled Self-Fulfilling Prophecy assignment, or Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. And then I'm having you explore your interpretation of messages that you've heard and how those influenced you. So again, I give you a brief overview of what the assignment is about. For the entire assignment guidelines and rubric, I ask that you open it by clicking on the gray box. There are 3 sections to this assignment, so please make sure you read each section carefully as it relates to what I want you to do. But I just want you to think about some messages that you've interpreted as negative or judgmental. And I want you to identify what those are by listing the ones you remember hearing. Again, disclosing to the level you feel comfortable disclosing and you think I'll be comfortable hearing. And I'm asking you to pick 4. And then you're going to write those down there, type them out. Or on a fresh new Word document, type those out. And then I ask you to take the messages from the above section that you thought were negative, and I want you to turn those messages around to make them less biting or even maybe more positive. You'll do that there. And then respond to the following questions in complete sentence format. How often do you think the messages we receive are truly intended to be negative? Could these negative messages have been misinterpreted? Could these messages have been less about us and more about the sender, the person that actually said them to you? And what messages have you sent to someone you care about that could have been interpreted as negative? Below I have the point value description. So this assignment's worth 12 points, and you'll get 4 points for listing 4 negative messages, 4 points for changing the negative into positive messages, and then you're going to answer the questions in complete sentence format, and it's either there or it's not there. So if you've answered each question in complete sentence format, each question is worth 1 point apiece. And then I just break down the scoring guide here for you. You'll submit that to the Dropbox below. Then you'll have a chapter reading quiz, 10 questions. 5 questions are multiple choice, 5 questions are true and false. You are allowed multiple attempts up until the due date or until you reach a 100. There was a miscommunication somewhere, and I want to apologize if I communicated that message in a confusing way, but the only time you need to email me is if you want a previous attempt recorded. So if I took the quiz 3 times, my 3rd attempt is what's going to be recorded. If my 2nd attempt was the best I did out of all 3, that is when you want to email me to let me know, and I'll go in and I'll check it and I'll override the score in the grade book. But otherwise, if it's the most recent one, which would be the 3rd attempt, you don't need to email me at all. E360 should automatically record that. If it doesn't, however, and make sure you give the system about 15 minutes, but if it doesn't automatically record that, let me know, because that means there's an error going on with E360. The lesson ends with a couple of reminders to make sure you've done the following things that you need to do that are worth points. And then you're doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work. Lesson is complete. Thank you so much for your time today. And don't forget, if you do have any questions, email, call, or stop by. I'm here to help.